Super Casey here, and you're listening to This Freakin' Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of This Freakin' Show, the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. I'm your host, Travis D, and with me this evening, as always,
Awkward Colin.
And Geek Cast Joe.
And I am sick.
You are.
It is so unpleasant. Like I don't know if I sound normal, but in my mind, I sound like really nasally.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm trying to avoid breathing because I don't want the sound of mucus to rumble through my microphone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if this is gonna make you enjoy this show more or not, but I am going to talk less. So for those of you who don't like hearing me, this will probably be your favorite episode of all times. But
for those of you who just like silence, it's gonna be great. It's just gonna be a good episode.
Yeah, I'm going to utilize the mute button as much as possible so I can sit here and blow my nose and cough and shit without interrupting our two awesome segments and our interview that we have today with CJ Standal. So, oh fuck, I am so lightheaded. My mom fucking brought me this medication from Mexico. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, I shit you not. Like, she brought over dinner of like, there was like fish and like taco salad and this weird dessert, which is really good. But basically, all it was like cherry jello and cream cheese. Or no, I'm sorry, cherry jello and whipped cream. Ooh. It was really good. But she brought me this fucking medicine, and I'm fucking reading this thing. I'm like, where's the American label on this? And she's like, oh, it's from Mexico. I'm like, I don't know if I want to put that in my body. So I Googled it, and I was reading the info on it, and it's goofy how you could take a pill that'll help, like, relieve, like, chest congestion and, like, help you, like, breathe better.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a good chance you're going to end up with bloody diarrhea and yellow eyes.
You just gotta choose, man. You just gotta choose.
I know. It's like, do I want to breathe or do I want to look like a crackhead? I mean, because the last thing I want is yellow fucking eyes. I mean, I'll take the bloody stool. I mean, like, I've shit in my life, and I know there have been times where some of it was a little rough. So, I mean, I can live with blood poo. I really can't deal with that fucking yellow eye bullshit. I look like the demon from Supernatural.
Mm-hmm. Just get yourself some Clear Eyes or some Visine.
I don't think that fucking... What is that called? So what's that fucking yellow eye thing called?
Jaundice?
Jaundice. There you go. I was going to say ganja, but I think that's a term.
That's weed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's definitely not it. But yeah, so I don't think, like, eye drops cures that.
Fair.
But I took the meds. We'll see how it goes. It was weird, though, because I think psychologically my mind was fucking with me, because as soon as I took it, within like 30 seconds, my fucking chest started hurting, and my fucking stomach was bothering me, and I felt lightheaded. And I'm like, come on, it didn't have time to fucking dissolve in your system. So
yeah,
I think my body was starting to bitch. I'm not a med guy by any means. Like, I'm in no way a med guy. Like, when I got my wisdom teeth out and shit like that, I did not take Vicodin whatsoever. None whatsoever, because I can't do that shit. People OD for a reason, and I know I won't do it. I'm careful when it comes to meds. I know I've taken Vicodin before, but I'm just not a Vicodin guy. I'm not one of those like painkiller guys. I'll take some ibuprofen here and there, and fucking Dayquil, NyQuil, and shit like that. But when it comes to like the strong ibuprofen and like the actual Vicodin and like amoxicillin, the fucking big ass shit, like, it's questionable to me because I've never taken it before. I don't know how my body's gonna react to it. And it also mentions something on this fucking med about having an allergy to penicillin allergies or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever taken penicillin in my life. No fucking clue. I know, but I took the med, and that was probably about 2 hours ago. So I mean, so far I'm still good. So I'm assuming nothing happened.
Yeah. No, you're probably fine.
My grandma recommended me getting a flu shot, but why? You know?
Yeah, I heard the flu shot's not very good this year anyway.
I heard all it does is destroy your immune system anyways, and makes it rely on it in the future. So I really don't have an urge to fucking get it.
Yeah, that's not true, but anyway.
It could be true.
It's not
How can
true.
it not be true? How can it not be true?
The whole point of a vaccine is that it creates an immunity in your body, but the problem is it creates an immunity against a specific strain of the flu virus. And there are so many strains of flu virus that it's not always effective. Vaccines can't destroy your immune system unless you have a medical condition that would cause the vaccine to destroy your immune system. But the odds of that are astronomically low.
I'm not saying the vaccine is going to destroy your immune system. I'm saying that your body may become reliant on having that vaccine when you keep putting it in your body. It's like smoking. It's with nicotine and shit like that. When you take nicotine away from your body starts going through withdrawals on it. And that's the same thing with medication. That's why people who get addicted to Tylenol and shit like that. And that's the same thing with the flu shot, that you put that chemical into your body. Also, your body starts relying on that. Nah. And if it's gone and you don't do it again...
Nope. What it does is it puts a weakened version of whatever virus it is so that your body can really easily beat it up. And then your body will from then on recognize that virus. Or for a specific length of time. So there's that vaccine you have to get before you go to college or whatever for hepatitis C. That is only good for about 10 years if you don't get hepatitis. So all it does is it basically creates an ability for your body to recognize security threats. So it's not like something that you can build up a tolerance to. It's just something that it helps your body recognize threats.
I'm not saying a tolerance. I'm saying withdrawal.
Oh no, there's no possibility of that either.
I'm going to look it up because I could have sworn I heard something about that shit.
Nah, the people who say things like that are wackadoos and should not be allowed on the internet.
I don't think it was the internet, though. I don't think it was the internet.
Most people shouldn't be allowed on the internet.
That's true. I probably shouldn't be allowed on the internet.
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to find it. I'll send it your way. I'll prove you wrong.
Please do.
It's because this is my life, and I know I'm not wrong.
I'm always willing to dispel anti-vaxxers.
I'm not anti-vaccine.
No, I know. I'm just... But the people who are probably telling you about that article probably are.
I don't think it was so much them telling me that's what it does. I think they just implied it to me based on knowledge of everything else. I don't want to use the word implied because then it sounds false. But I think it was just like a random conversation thing, like, the whole thing, blah, 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 blah. But anyways, gotcha. I mean, that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, that's fair.
We gotta get CJ on here.
We do, and he's ready to go whenever we want him.
Awesome. Let's plug a podcast and come back with CJ.
Looking for a podcast to listen to? Look up Geek Dig Pod. They've got comics, movies, music, video games, tech, or whatever your geeky little heart desires. Look them up at geekdigpod.com, on Instagram or Twitter at geekdigpod, on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, The Satchel Player, or Player FM. The Geek Dig podcast is part of the Tangent Bound, BS Podcast Network, and the We Be Geeks Network.
All right, and we're back with our good friend of the show, CJ Standal. Welcome back, buddy.
Thanks for having me back, guys. I'm really excited to be back. It's just been a long time. I know that's kind of due to just how long this last issue took to come out, but hopefully it's been worth the wait.
Yeah, no, it's been great. We're on issue 5, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, you are correct. And, hard at work on issue 6, but yeah, issue 5 was just released a couple weeks ago. You never know when you're the one creating it, but I think it's getting better and better. I think I'm better at juggling all the multiple characters and just kind of getting quicker and to the point for each little plot point.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And I love the way, in the first couple of issues, because you hadn't introduced a whole lot of characters, the whole issue was taken by one character. And as you've introduced more and more characters, we're starting to see how all their storylines interact in the present and how they interact in the past.
Yep, and that's always been kind of the plan, to just kind of start getting more and more glimpses, little sneak peeks at those past connections, those present plots, and hopefully it just keeps people guessing at what's going on in the future. But yeah, that's definitely something. I've also been relettering all of the past issues, just getting prepared for once the 6th issue's out. I'm going to actually have a printed graphic novel collection, and so I was kind of relettering all that stuff, and just exactly what you were saying was something I was really noticing. I guess I knew it, but it's something in the 8 months or however long since I wrote that issue. It's just something that it fades with time, and then since I've been relettering it, it's like, oh yeah, issue 1 was pretty much all Marcus, and issue 2 a little Marcus, but just pretty much all Hunter, and now we're kind of seeing hopefully a little bit more of a delicate balancing act between the characters, and just hopefully that makes it more exciting and relatable for everybody.
Absolutely, and I love how in this one especially, I noticed you would come up to a seemingly significant plot point and then jump to a different character.
Yep,
it's very. I've said this before. I think it's very like watching a TV show.
Yeah, thank you, and that is kind of, I think. I've mentioned it before, but that I've made the choice, for instance, not to have like any inner monologue, inner narration. That's partly because I did want to kind of emulate that feel of a show, of a movie, because I just think with a suspense thriller, with all the mysteries, having an inner monologue in many ways can ruin the surprise and that sense of suspense. And so that was always something I've been working on for this series, is just really making it feel filmic, making it just have a lot of room for interpretation then because of that, and more suspense because of that. I've got some ideas for future series past Rebirth of the Gangster, and I think I'd be getting a little away from that. I would like in my next series to experiment a little with like inner narration, inner monologue of the main character, but I'm really happy with the way it's working out for this specific story to not have that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love, if there's a character that I kind of wish we had an inner monologue for, it would be Linda. But I kind of love that we don't have that. Her actions speak so loudly, I think, that even as I'm sitting here going, okay, what's she thinking? I'm also going, okay, I know exactly what she's thinking because,
Yeah, exactly. I know what you're saying. And I think... I think you hit the nail on the head where you said essentially like her actions speak louder than any sort of narration would, and I think that just one of the nice benefits of choosing not to have narration is to focus more on I have to really show what they're thinking. It's that old adage of show don't tell, and I think when you have that narration, it's easy to just fall back on I'm going to tell, and then it makes it a little less engaging, a little less suspenseful, a little less exciting, and so hopefully. Especially, since this most recent issue did focus on Linda, and really we showed kind of a new part of her character and some new actions that really, I think that is it would be interesting to get into her head, but then I think then we'd be kind of robbed of the ability to kind of view the other characters in the same way or with the same weight.
Right, absolutely, and that's another thing where I think your illustrator is just tremendous. I think a lesser artist would not be able to capture that inner monologue visually.
Yep, and I do know that there are definitely. I mean, he's awesome, and I'm not trying to take any credit away from him in what I'm about to say, but I do also in the script kind of put like this is what they're thinking, but this is how they're trying to. This is what they're actually showing to the world, or that kind of thing. And I just really do try to give almost actors type of notes or actors type of descriptions. And so I think part of it starts from that part of the script, but definitely Juan takes it, makes it even better. He's really incredible. I mean, I think we're also really starting to really feel like as a really good, solid collaborating team. I know the first issue or two, he pretty much would just go right with what I wrote in the script, the same layout, same panel size, that type of stuff. And I know the last couple of issues he's been just experimenting a little more, kind of going away from my script for Awie's better better results. And that was something I always kind of wanted him to do. I know the first script I always did say, if you have a better idea, run with it. And he, I guess maybe just because we both weren't used to each other and kind of just getting a feel for the story and the characters, he didn't really do that as much to begin with. But now he's really started doing that. And I think that also does kind of carry over into having a more authentic, strong sense of the characters, like the way they act, so that we can really see, like you're saying, what we can see what they're thinking, even if they're not saying it, just by kind of their facial expressions, their actions, whatever else they're doing.
Right. Well, and the context of the story too. Like I'm going back through this fairly quickly, so it may not be as directly this as I think, but I noticed there's a loose chiastic structure in this issue, where we see at the beginning Linda in one situation, and by the end of the issue, she's almost back in that situation years later.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess that was always. I think that this issue does have the best kind of, I'll go almost character arc with Linda, in that sense of starting her one place, taking her on a journey that kind of gets her away from it, but then comes back to it, and that's something I think that we haven't quite seen as much of that neat or that like complete of a structure or a character arc. So I'm glad you're noticing it. I think part of it was intentional, but part of it, like I'm finding with each issue, is just that sometimes just magic happens and something that I've written just kind of clicks, and it was maybe instinctual or unconscious, but sometimes it's just, I haven't even thought of it consciously, and then it just clicks. So I think that's something that was kind of working on both levels. I did kind of want to have a little symmetry in that sense, but I guess it didn't really, when I was writing the script, click. Maybe when I was outlining the script, but when I was actually like writing the individual panels and all that stuff, it didn't click. So that's pretty cool that you're noticing that, and that it's maybe even stronger than I intended, which is always, I think, a nice result. Yeah,
and I need to go back and look more closely at it to see if it holds up all the way through the whole issue. But
sure.
And it's really fantastic. And so what I'm actually curious about is Linda going to play a bigger role? Like, is she a main character like some of the other ones we've already met, or is she going to be? She is. Okay.
She is. I mean, I still do think of Marcus, Hunter, and Lorena as kind of the core trifecta of this, or trio of this story. But I do think that Andrea, Linda, and then the 6th issue focuses on this other character, Dennis. They're kind of like they're still also the main characters, and they do get heavily involved, especially in the next couple or in the second and third story arcs, especially with Dennis. Andrea and Linda are always going to be completely through the whole thing, but Dennis's time to shine is essentially coming up in issue 6 and then kind of through the middle of the story. But yeah, Linda and Andrea are really kind of just, they're gaining in prominence, and that was always kind of my intention. I do think maybe if I could go back and change things, I would maybe start focusing on them a little more, partly just because I think their stories and characters are interesting, but partly also I think the past couple issues writing some female characters as the point of view characters, the focus characters, has been really cool, and so I kind of wish I'd maybe balance that out a little bit more to begin with, but I am excited with how strong they're coming on, and it just, I think the more that I write them, the more that they kind of take on a life of their own, and the bigger they're going to become to this story than even I'm originally planning.
Gotcha. Yeah. What I was wondering about was, because her story arc was so strong and so, I guess well done. It was very well contained. That's the word I'm looking for.
Thank you. Yep.
Within this issue, and the other ones, that it seems like there's a lot of setup for issues down the line from them.
Yep.
And you know, taking Marcus's for example, you can see some of the stuff even in this issue that's referring back to events that happened in issue 1. And so that's why I was wondering if she was slightly less of a main character than Marcus and Hunter and Lorena, just because her story arc is so neatly contained within this, or if it was just something that happened because you're getting better as you go.
I think it's mainly I'm getting better as I go, and I also think one of the things that with each issue I've kind of given more into the impulse to, I've got to start speeding things up, start making more and more things happening. And I think with the first couple issues, since I had this whole series in mind, I kind of was okay with, I'll just plant some seeds here. But then the more that I got into it, the more I realized, I want to make each issue have be like have more bang for the buck, have more of a self-contained story, and really get things moving quicker. And I think that's just something. That's something that I've been consciously focusing on, and somehow, even though there are more characters, I think I've been able to make more stuff happen for one single character in an issue, like with Linda, like with Andrea in the past one. And I think that is just, I mean, like anything, the more you do, the more you learn.
Right.
I know that I've been living with a story even before I wrote the first script for about a year and a half to 2 years now, and so also some of it is just the more that the story and the characters kind of percolate, the more that I think opportunities like these just throw themselves at my feet, kind of thing.
Gotcha. Absolutely, and that's very cool. And honestly, I think the pacing, moving from sort of a slowly let's get to know people into a not quite breakneck pace is going to be nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's been great to read it so far. I can't imagine that it's going to get worse as it goes forward. You know, and I think if someone were to just pick this up somewhere down the line and look at issue 1, I don't think that by any means say it starts slow.
Yeah, so I think it's just, I kind of equate it more to like a book, and that the first chapter is maybe not as quickly paced as other chapters, but it's still laying a lot of groundwork, and really also when you go back, you actually see that a lot more was going on than you really noticed in the first go through, and so that's, I think, a lot of what I was intending. So I always wanted to kind of start with that slower pace to build some exposition, build the theme, and just really lay a lot of groundwork. But I also do think that I still was trying to focus on how to make each issue really self-contained and strong. It's just getting better and better as we go.
Right, absolutely, and that definitely comes across.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now, in our emailing back and forth, you mentioned that 14 pages of issue 3 are going to be in the Alterna Comics 2017 IF anthology.
Yes.
What is that?
So this is something. I mean, to be honest, I hadn't really heard of the IF anthology before submitting for it. I've heard of Alterna Comics, of course, and I read some of their stuff, and I've always liked it. I've always liked how they seem to be a good home for especially indie creators who are starting to make a name for themselves and all that sort of stuff. But really, it was just more at the beginning of the year, I was just kind of resending out some submissions to all sorts of comic companies, partly Rebirth of Gangster, partly Juan and I worked on another pitch. I think I maybe mentioned it the last time we talked, called The Others Behind the Wall. That was actually part of the reason that the 5th issue took so long to go, is that we kind of took a detour to set up this other pitch. No bites yet for that one, but long story short, I guess, is that I was kind of sending out all these submissions, and then I submitted the series itself to Alterna Comics, and then they also had another tab for the anthology. And just the perfect coincidence is that the anthology, they do a different genre or a different theme each year. So this theme, this genre this year is crime, and so I just was, wow, that's perfect. And so I kind of looked at their requirements and found out that I did need to do something more self-contained. So essentially, I looked for the issue that I thought was the most self-contained. Issue 5 wasn't quite complete at that point yet. Maybe that would have been the best one to do. But yeah, 3 was at that point the most self-contained one. And so I took out the pages that really were about the bigger story and about characters outside of Lorena and Hunter, since that's kind of the main focus of that issue. And then I just submitted it to them, and that was back in January, February, something like that. And so for about 3 months, I heard nothing until maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, they got back to me, said they'd love to publish it, and I needed to make some small tweaks just because they do a little different size. They're going to be printing at a different size than I had originally planned, and so I needed to tweak the lettering, resize the files themselves. But yeah, I just sent the final copy yesterday. I know June is when we're kind of finalizing what we're doing, the start of the first week of June, and then from that point, it's going to be published. So that's super exciting. That's really the dream. I've been self-publishing this for the last year, and that's already been super fulfilling. But it's going to be really cool to see that a publisher was so interested in it that they just trusted me enough and were supportive enough to include it in their publication, and so that'll be really cool. I've never held a printed version of my comic yet.
Yeah, that'll be amazing, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I've held proofs just because I've been seeing what I needed to do to make sure that when I print the first graphic novel, if there was any tweaks I needed to make along the way. But yeah, a proof is something different from this company invested in me and that type of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I totally understand that. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think you guys have been some of my biggest backers and supporters the whole time through. So I know that without your guys' support and kind of just your positive feedback, I have no idea if I would have kept going on this road. I do have the story to tell, but obviously self-publishing is a huge undertaking, especially when when I'm paying Juan kind of ahead of it. And so it's just. Yeah, it's one of those things that's so much work, way more work than I would have thought, and just also kind of a financial investment, and I don't know if I would have kind of kept going with it if it wasn't for support from guys like you and just some of the other positive feedback I've gotten. So I'm excited about it, but I also think that your support is kind of what put me in this spot to begin with, so thank you guys.
Oh, you're welcome, of course. That's anything we can do to support people.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely.
So let's see. What was I gonna? I feel like I was gonna ask you something else about this. No, I think you covered it.
Sure. Yep. And if you probably had asked me something else, I probably wouldn't have known, because this is all new, and I only know actually one other creator, and that's actually just because we kind of connected over Facebook after we both announced it, and he kind of just friended me. So I know very little about it other than that I'm involved, and that's cool.
Gotcha. Fantastic. I am curious, and maybe you don't know, but the anthology submissions for Alterna Comics, is it sort of like a way for them to gauge who they might pick up? Or is it I'm not
so
sure
I guess I don't
just go ahead.
Yeah. I guess I don't really know for sure. That seems to make sense to me that it is kind of like a way of testing the waters of if they get a really good feedback for one story, one creative team, something like that they kind of sign them up. I've never had they haven't explicitly said something like that to me, but it would make sense. I think that was kind of in the old days, that's the kind of the mini series game where they would where any publisher would run mini series and then hope, there was enough interested to make it a regular thing. And so maybe this is kind of that new wave or new way of doing the same type of thing, just with an anthology instead of miniseries. Again, it makes sense. They haven't told me that, but I think it. Yeah. Why else would they be, or what else would they be looking for with this anthology other than maybe some feedback on what to publish in the future, and obviously success with the anthology. But
absolutely. So and I think comic books right now are. The market is saturated in lots of ways.
Yep.
And so maybe where they might normally in the past have done something similar to a literary magazine or something like that, where you might publish a short story or whatever. Maybe they do anthologies as a way to. That's like the analogous thing to comic books as to like a literary magazine for publishing short stories or something.
Yep, that totally makes sense.
I don't know. I'm curious about it. The whole process fascinates me. So any light that you can shine, and you've shown a lot on it. So.
Yep, and I'm sure the next time I come back on, I'll be able to share even more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, cool. They're on Amazon and Comixology.
Yep, they are. We're talking Rebirth of Gangster, right? Not just the Alterna Comics.
Currently, I'm on the Alterna Comics webpage, looking at the anthology submissions.
Sure. Okay. Yep, that's cool.
So
Rebirth of Gangster is also on Amazon and Comixology, but yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And listeners, if you haven't bought it yet, go do that. Stop listening right now. Just go do that.
And the best price, the best bargain is on Amazon. You can actually get the whole series, a bundle pack of the whole series so far for, I think it's about 60% off, something like that. So it's the best bargain to just bundle it together like that. So yeah, check it out there. If people don't like Amazon, there is always Comixology as another option.
Mm-hmm. Comixology is good too. So Let's see. So you're start working on your 6th issue.
Yep.
And I know I ask this question every time, but it's because my brain doesn't hold certain types of details in my head. What is the end arc point? Is it 12 issues for this first main arc?
So the first main arc is actually ending with the 6th issue. So that's the end of Meet the Family, the first story arc, and then we'll have 3 more story arcs after that for a total of 24 issues.
Gotcha. And then that's when it'll be a volume.
Yep.
Gotcha.
A whole thing.
Excellent.
A whole volume. I am gonna, with each story arc though, release a trade paperback of that individual story arc. But once they're all done, I would like to collect it in a big omnibus, almost like an absolute edition, that type of thing.
Gotcha. Excellent. I really look forward to that.
Yeah, I do too. It's coming up a little bit more slowly than I'd like, but I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Let's see. So the next story is going to be Dennis.
Yep. And so
go ahead.
we briefly met him in the 5th issue. There wasn't a huge focus, but it was really more just kind of planting the seed for the 6th issue. So after Hunter talked to Randy, he's leaving the prison, and then he kind of bumps into Dennis and says, like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you were here," that type of thing. So we know that there's some history, like almost all of our characters. There's some history, some past relationship between these two, and the next issue is going to kind of explore that a little bit more, but also kind of really delve into the question of Dennis is getting out of prison, and he he wants to walk the straight and narrow, but there are a lot of obstacles in his way, and the question is whether he's going to be able to do that or get sucked back into this life of crime, partly through Hunter's doing.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I love the glance over his shoulder back at Hunter. Me looking at it, now that you've said that, it's not just, just reading it in the first place, I'm going, oh, is this revenge? Is this distrust? Is it, what does this look mean? And you've just added a whole nother layer to it of, is he trying to get me back into something I don't want to get into? Is he trustworthy? That's mainly where I was aiming for that. But since we obviously didn't know the whole story, it was also really open to interpretation. And I think that's also something that the more issues I've released, I've found that actually happens. That I've intended one thing because I know where it's going, but then readers totally take it a different way. Even my girlfriend, she actually doesn't read the scripts or anything like that, so she'll read an issue actually once it's done, and she'll be like, "Wow, I totally thought you were going this way, and then it zigged in when it should have zagged," that type of thing. Good stuff.
That's also stuff I plant in the hopes that when people reread it, there's more value because of that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love what you do. I'm always very excited about it, and I'm always excited to hear your take on your stuff.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I've had plenty of time to think about it. That's the only, I guess, the downside of how great Juan is. That's just that he takes a little time to create this great work, and so I then have even more time to kind of go over it in my head, which is, I think, cool. But it's also, I'm always ready for another issue.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So you wait to start the next issue until you have the final copy of the whatever Juan finishes? Or...
No, I don't necessarily wait to start the next issue. So, for instance, we're not done. We're still. I've written the script for the 6th issue, and Juan's maybe about 12 to 14 pages done with it. So he's pretty far in, but he's still got a little ways to go. And I've already started breaking down and outlining the 7th issue. I know that this week at some point I'm going to actually start scripting it. So it is more of a fluid process. I guess. I kind of just right when I have the time. I do think if he was a little bit faster, that would kind of put the fire under my seat and make me write a little bit faster. So it's not that I ever take breaks or stop.
Gotcha.
But I do think if the art was kind of coming through a little bit quicker, I would be able to write quicker and get it done. That being said, though, I think having the time does make it better.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm out of questions. Travis, do you have 5 questions to ask him?
Yeah, CJ, what we started doing with our guests that we have come on, which, by the way, thank you so much for coming on. And again, congratulations. Absolutely. Congratulations with the comic book, man, because it's awesome.
Thanks.
I can honestly, I have not been disappointed in one of your comics yet, and I don't see me being disappointed in anyone in the future. So, great job on what you're doing, man.
Glad to hear that. That does kind of put the pressure on a little bit, but glad.
Yeah. Well, it should, man, because I'm not a comic book guy, but you're selling me on it, which is really good.
Oh, glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's I have heard that feedback from a lot of people too.
Yeah.
Just because I think it is that filmic quality we've mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes it a little more accessible to people, especially if they're not super familiar with comics, or even if they're familiar, they're just not really into them.
Yeah. I mean, because I've never been huge into comics, but I mean, up until like when we started doing like this podcast and the Marvel like movies are coming out and everything, it kind of got me more into that kind of that world of comic books and movies and stuff like that. So I never thought I'd ever be interested in a comic, and you completely changed that for me. So that's all on you, man.
All right. Wow. Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So definitely keep it up. Definitely keep it going. But we tried doing with our new guests and everything. Not new guests, but our guests is we're trying to do new with our guests. Is we're just gonna ask them 5 random questions. It's just like a small little segment called Just Freaking Curious, and it's just 5 random questions, just getting to know a little bit more about you.
Sure. Sounds good.
Awesome. So the first question, cool. So the first question I got for you is, what's your favorite food, favorite supper? Like if you could have like a last meal, what would that meal be?
Whew. So, I'm a pretty simple guy. There is this Russian dumpling place kind of downtown near me, and they just make meat and potato Russian dumplings with like curry powder and a bunch of other spices, and that would be my go-to. It's nothing super fancy, but it never disappoints, much like my comic.
That's awesome. Okay. If there was one celebrity that you could spend a day with, who would it be and why?
Whew. All right, so, I think if we could go to back in time, I would love to hang out with Paul Newman.
Okay.
I know he's dead now, but it's just I think the one, I just love his movies. He's obviously an incredible actor, has a lot of range. Is able to do a lot of drama, comedies, that type of stuff. But I also do really have a lot of respect for him just as man, just some of the charitable things he's been doing, just that he's also super passionate he was always super passionate about driving and just never really hiding who he was, just being really authentic. And I know that for the longest time on my Facebook wall, I had some quote from him that was something along the lines of we all need to be farmers and give back. We all need to be farmers and give back. Just like a farmer gives back to the land and lets things grow. And he says something like, I'm not running for sainthood, but I want to do what I can. And so I think there's just a lot of his kind of philosophy that I love about him, in addition to, I mean, he's made, obviously, many cinematic masterpieces.
I got you. Well, to kind of stay on topic then when it comes to movies and everything, what's your all-time favorite movie?
Whew, that's always a tough one. I mean, whew. I think it kind of varies, I guess, by age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to reflect on this. I think that it's hard to say anything other than The Godfather Part 2, just because that never gets old and it's always just incredible. So yeah, I guess that's my go-to, The Godfather Part 2.
That's a good one. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. I hear a lot of people aren't a big fan of the third one, though.
Yeah, one of my college roommates was one of those too, and we never quite got along on that. But
I got you. Okay, guilty pleasure song, the kind of song that you love listening to, but not many people know that you enjoy it too much.
Ooh, all right. Well, I'm trying to think of a more contemporary one. I like "Call Me Maybe," but that's a long time ago. But let's just go with that. That's a fun song. It makes me want to move, that type of thing.
Yeah, nah, I dig it.
I listened to that song a lot my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't listened to it in a long time, but that would be one of the. I remember that as one of those songs where I would like it, but not quite show as much how much I would like it.
Gotcha. All right. Last question I have for you. If you could have a dream vacation to anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Whew. So, I think I would actually be really interested in going to like Norway, Sweden, just partly because that's I'm heavily Scandinavian, and so I just would be really interested in kind of reconnecting, I guess, with my ancestral roots. I did also take a year of Norwegian in college, so it would be interesting to try to dust that off and and make that work. Why I took that is a whole another story. It actually was not something that I was super ever interested in, but then it just kind of was a whim. But yeah, that. I think that would be the answer I would say, just because it is kind of unique, and it's also like it's not like I'd love to go to Paris or London or something like that, but I just feel like my personal connection and just the unique nature of it, that would be really cool to go to. Yeah, this just Scandinavia in general.
Yeah, that's a good answer, man. That's awesome. Perfect. Well, real quick, do you just want to tell everyone where they can find you on social media and all that?
Yeah, thanks. So you can find me, my go-to website is cjstandalproductions.com. That's the website for me, but also for my publication company that I self-publish Rebirth the Gangster with. You can also follow me on Twitter at CJ_Standal, or just friend me on Facebook with CJ Standal. And then other than that, if anybody would ever like to reach out to me, they can contact me at cjstandal@gmail.com. So those are pretty much the go-tos. I have like Instagram, stuff like that, but nobody really follows me on that, and I don't really do much with it.
Oh yeah, we're the same way with Instagram. Like, we have it, but I mean, it's not really utilized too much.
Yeah, it's.
So I mean, it's But thank you again for coming on. It's always a joy to talk with you. It's always a joy to view these comics that you are creating. It's an amazing time, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks again. Thanks for the compliments. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to come back. I'll let you guys know when the 6th issue is done, which shouldn't be coming up. Shouldn't be too long in the future. So yeah, hopefully I come back on. And it's not going to be quite as long of a hiatus, like we had between the last one and this one.
Absolutely, you let us know, man. We'll love to have you back.
Definitely, thanks. And then hopefully I have a little more details and insight on that if anthology.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Comics. Yep, that'd be cool.
Yeah, keep us updated, man, and you take care.
Definitely, you too. Thanks.
Yep. Oh, it's always good to talk to CJ.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say absolutely
Joey,
too much thanks to Rob. Anyway.
Joey, thank you so much for handling that interview, because I knew I couldn't be able to get through it with all the fucking heavy breathing and shit I gotta fucking do.
Yeah, no problem.
Real brutal.
Yeah, he's easy for me.
Yeah. But since we already got you talking and everything, why don't we keep you going vocally and announce our second ever Follow Your Star Award?
Yeah, absolutely. So this month I had some trouble. None of you all suggested anything to me on Twitter or Facebook, so I had to try to find something myself. And I couldn't find anybody easily. So I'm giving it to our first international winner, Neil Gaiman, the famed British author of American Gods. It's a great story. It's a story about a guy who finds out that gods, small g gods, exist and walk among us, and sort of the experience he has learning about that other world of beings of power like that. And it's really good. It's a really great story. I'm very much underselling it. I really enjoyed it. I just read it this week. If you don't like to read, Stars has a version out. Though they're playing, I believe, episode 4 tonight as we're recording this. So by the time you listeners hear this, episode 4 will have been out for a week. probably find it anywhere you pirate things, if that's the type of person you are. And it's really good, and it follows the book damn near perfectly. And actually, I would argue, in some cases, it is better than the book, which is not a thing that I pretty much ever say. So,
I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
I don't think it's ever happened. So, book is great. TV show is even better. So check it out, American Gods. And Neil Gaiman is an excellent author. He writes lots of other books as well. But I just feel like he's a rising star right now. And in a world where they're actually doing justice to some of my favorite books by turning them into TV shows that don't suck, right now I feel like he's the one best following his star. So yeah.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
No, that's you.
Oh.
You
Oh, thanks for congratulating me on picking that pick, because I felt really bad about it.
Yeah. No, good job, Joey, on finding another person who deserves the award.
Thanks.
And congratulations to our second ever, technically third ever recipient of the Fire Star Award. Joey will make sure to put something up on Facebook as a commemorative post.
Yep.
Saturday we'll release the show, so Joey put that up on Facebook, so that'll be awesome. And we'll pick someone else next month, and we'll continue to do this. And we hope that maybe in the future we get our listeners involved in recommending or nominating people for this award, so we don't have to pick people ourselves. We can pick people that you guys feel deserve the award.
Yeah. I'd like to hear from you, listeners.
I like to hear from them too. I mean, we don't get a lot of feedback from people, and it bugs me because I mean, like, we want to do this for them, but they don't want to get involved in it.
I know.
Goofy.
I know you all want to hear what we think, but sometimes we want to hear what you think.
Absolutely. Oh shit! It definitely is, right?
Like marriage.
Oh shit! Colin, you ready?
4.
Are you ready for your freaking state of mind?
I am.
Take it away, brother.
I guess I'll kick that off then. Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of This Frickin' State of Mind, where we learn little about each state. We're making our way through the states. We started with A, and currently we've made our way to N. Last week, as you recall, we learned a little bit about Nevada. This week, we're moving into the good old state of New Hampshire. So let's not hold back any longer, and we'll get right down to it. New Hampshire, of the original 13 counties, was the first to declare its independence from Mother England, a full 6 months before the Declaration of Independence was signed. The highest wind speed recorded at ground level is at Mount Washington on April 12th, 1934. The winds were 3 times as fast as those in most hurricanes.
Oh,
so,
wow.
damn, that's windy.
Mm-hmm.
New Hampshire is the only state that ever played host at the formal conclusion of a foreign war. In 1905, Portsmouth was the scene of the treaty ending the Russo-Japanese War. The first potato... Yeah?
That's just fascinating to me.
Yeah. The first potato planted in the U.S. was at Londonderry, Commonfield, in 1719. See, it's things like that interest me. How do they know it's the first potato planted in the U.S.?
Who knows?
They call it dibs.
Dibs.
Dibs. First potato, dibs.
Nice.
It works. It works with potato planting and auctions. Dibs.
In the town of Warner, the last passenger train stopped on November 4th of 1955. The last freight train stopped in 1961. Since then, the tracks through the town have been torn up and sold as scrap iron. Cornish Hill Pottery Company. What was that?
Oh, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I bet that was Carl.
Cornish Hill Pottery Company handcrafts functional stoneware decorated in the traditions of early American and European potterers with a method known as slip trailing. The slip is a creamy mixture of clay and water and is applied to moist, almost hardened pots by hand. The slip contains various colorants, including natural clay colors and metals. New Hampshire's present constitution was adopted in 1784. It is the second oldest in the country. On December 30th of 1828, about 400 mill girls walked out of the Dover cotton factory, enacting the first women's strike in the U.S. The Dover mill girls were forced to give in when the mill owners immediately began advertisement for replacement workers. The Mount Washington Auto Road at Great Glen is New Hampshire's oldest man-made tourist attraction. Daniel Webster was a politician and statesman. Born at Franklin in 1782, he was known in his day as a mighty orator, a reputation preserved in the Stephen Vincent Bennett story, The Devil, and Daniel Webster, The Devil and Daniel Webster, in which he beats the original lawyer, Lucifer, in a contract case over a man's soul.
Huh.
Yeah. New Hampshire State House is the oldest state capitol in which a legislature still meets in its original chambers.
Wow.
Alexandria was the birthplace of Luther C. Ladd, the first enlisted soldier to lose his life in the Civil War. Dover was settled in 1623 and is the oldest permanent settlement in New Hampshire. The quintessential New England community of Wolfsboro is also known as the oldest summer resort in America. Augustus St. Gaudens from Cornish was the first sculptor to design an American coin. His commission became fraught with difficulties related to St. Gaudens' desire for high relief relative to the demands of mass production and use. The American Stonehenge is a 4,000-year-old megalithic stone constructed site located on Mystery Hill in Salem, and presently serves as a leisurely educational tour for the whole family. The Memorial Bell Tower at Cathedral of the Pines in Rindage has 4 brown bas reliefs designed by Norman Rockwell. The bell tower is specifically dedicated to women, military, and civilian who died serving their country. The Bavarian-style hamlet of Merrimack is home to the famous 8-horse hitch and the Clydesdale maintained by the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Cannon Aerial Tramway is the first aerial passenger tramway in North America. It was built in 1938 at Franconian Notch. the Christa McAuliffe Planetarium in Concord is a state-of-the-art planetarium dedicated to the memory of a New Hampshire teacher, Christia McAuliffe. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'm sorry, people. But anywho, she was one that died in the explosion of the space shuttle, the Challenger.
Wow.
Yep. New Hampshire has 10 counties, 13 municipalities, 221 towns, and 22 unincorporated places. The good old song, Mary Had a Little Lamb, was wrote by author Sarah Josephia Hale, who was an author and a journalist. And she wrote the Mary Had a Little Lamb in the 1830s and is from Newport, New Hampshire.
I didn't realize that song was so young.
The 1830s?
Yeah, I thought it was much older than that for some reason.
I never really thought about the age of that song. But to me, I would have thought like in the 1900s at least.
Huh. Crazy.
Yep. The Belknap Mill, built at Laconia in 1823, is the oldest unaltered brick knitting mill in America. The Blue Ghost of Wolfsboro is the U.S. mail boat for Lake Winnipesaukee. It makes a daily 60-mile loop delivering mail to 30 stops at camps and islands around the lake. Here's a funny one. At Stonyfield Farm in Londonderry, you can learn how yogurt is made, from cow to incubator to cooler. They give away samples, and you can also buy some merchandise.
Nice.
Yes. New Hampshire did not officially adopt a state flag until 1909. Prior to that, New Hampshire had numerous regimental flags to represent the state. The present flag has only been changed once in 1931 when the state seal was modified. The USS Albacore was a prototype submarine built at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard and commissioned in 1953. At the time, she was the fastest submarine ever designed.
Wow.
Yeah. The granite profile, Old Man of the Mountain, is one of the most famous national landmarks in the state. The Old Man's head measures 40 feet from chin to forehead and is made up of 5 ledges. Nature carved this profile thousands of years ago. The natural sculpture is 1,200 feet above Echo Lake. It takes approximately 40 gallons of sap to make approximately 1 gallon of maple syrup. Wallace D. Lovell built the Hampton River Bridge in 1900, called the Mile Long Bridge. It was reputed to be the longest wooden bridge in the world. New Hampshire has changeable climate with wide variation in daily and seasonal temperatures. The variations are affected by proximity to the ocean, mountains, lakes, or rivers. The state enjoys all 4 seasons. Summers are short and cool. Winters are long and cold. Fall is glorious with foliage. And the weather stations at Mount Washington has recorded some of the coldest temperatures and strongest winds in the continental U.S. And then for our last fact, Newcastle, New Hampshire is the smallest town in New Hampshire. It covers 0.8 square miles or 512 acres. The town is composed of 1 large island and several smaller islands, and serves as a scenic residential and recreational community. And thank you all for joining me in another segment of This Frickin' State of Mind. Come back next week, and we will move right on. Going back to you, Travis.
Well, thank you, Colin.
You're welcome.
Jeez. I think that's it, right? Kind of got to the end of our show here.
I suppose we did.
I guess. Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
What you freaking on this week?
I finally finished Samurai Jack. And in some ways, Samurai Jack finally finished me. Phrasing. No, the very...
Yeah.
It kind of sounded like a very extended rape.
I'd be totally consensual with Samurai Jack. He's an honorable dude.
Did he yell surprise?
No.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but it's not rape if you yell surprise.
Jesus.
Jeez.
No, but the series finally ended after there was a 15-year hiatus. It was one of my favorite shows as a kid growing up, and there were 4 seasons. They just finished the 5th season, and it was a very bittersweet ending, and it's not everything I wanted it to be, but it was very satisfying and really good. So I'm pleased with it overall.
Okay, so you just finished up the newest season they just released.
Yes, and it's also they're allegedly never making any more Samurai Jack. It's the end of Samurai Jack officially.
Okay.
So, which is what I mean by it finished me. It ended. There's no more Samurai Jack.
It doesn't sound any
right.
better.
Doesn't sound right at all.
No.
But
no, even with that small defense in there, that's still not a proper statement there.
No, it works better not in English.
I gotcha.
But yeah, so it was good, and I was pleased with it. And to Jack, I'm glad you did that thing you did, lest I release spoilers. So, of course, by the time it's out, it'll have been a week, and I don't believe in spoilers after that. So,
yeah,
as you shouldn't.
Nope. Anyway, Travis, what are you freaking on this week?
Well, I turned 28 on Friday. So
Nice.
that's a big milestone, a boring milestone really, because it's no exciting birthday whatsoever. And then little sister Ashley graduates high school.
That's crazy to me.
She's the last of the group.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's it. And everyone's officially graduated out of high school, and now Mom and Carl could plan that fucking long extended moving to Florida plan that they've been saying for the last 15 fucking years. So, but now it's pretty exciting. So yeah, I get to watch Ashley graduate from the same high school that I did 10 years ago. Well, me, Colin, and Derek did 10 years ago. And it was weird because I actually saw on Facebook, probably for the first time. One second. I had to cough, I had to mute. For the first time this year, I actually saw somebody question our high school reunion for this year. And apparently they are putting it together.
Nice.
Are they?
Yeah, I guess Amanda just posted on her Facebook asking, if anyone's doing anything with it. And I guess Laura Teesfeld told her that Renee, Oliver, and somebody else, I can't remember, maybe Sam O'Brien or some shit, are working on putting it together. Okay. So we're going to have a high school reunion this year. Don't know what's going to be about. It's probably going to end up being a throwbacks or game on, technically.
Oh, God.
I know, right?
I won't go if it is.
Yeah, I mean, you can just go any weekend, and it's just a reunion there anyways, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm also trying to catch up on some of these movies that everyone keeps telling me to watch. Like, I watched The Princess Bride.
Yeah. And
So it was good. I'm
I'm
not
glad.
going to call it a cult classic. I'm not going to say it's one of the greatest movies in the world.
that's
but
fine.
it was good.
That's fine. It's good as I'll take that because we really talked it up. So
Yeah, it is a good movie. I started watching Blazing Saddles.
nice.
I fell asleep.
Fair. Yeah, it's a long
I don't.
one.
Is that the first time you've ever seen it?
Yeah. I don't think I fell asleep because it was boring. I think I fell asleep because of the medication. So I'm gonna wait till I feel a little bit better and I don't have to take medicine. And I'm gonna try to watch it again. It does look funny. I didn't realize it was a racist movie, and it literally says in the description on the Netflix, "racist town," and I'm like, what do they mean by racist? And like literally within the first 5 minutes, you get an idea.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but from the beginning that I did see, and like a little towards like not so much the end, let's say it looks like a funny movie. I couldn't stay awake because of the meds and everything. And I just fell asleep. So I'm gonna give it another shot and see how that goes. I'm just gonna start, just pulling these movies that people keep recommending and shit, just kind of get an idea of what's everyone talking about. Because I mean, like when we talked about Gene Wilder, the only movie I saw about Gene Wilder was Willy Wonka. Like I didn't see Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles or anything like that. So I wanna check these movies that everyone keeps fucking creaming themselves over, saying that they're like the end all to be all of movies. So I'm gonna do that too.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna get fucked up on Saturday, so that's gonna be awesome. I'll probably put that on Facebook Live, find some Snapchat, maybe Instagram and shit like that, so our followers could be prepared for that moment. Because, like I said, I got 2 gallons of Bacardi Silver that I'm going to destroy.
Nice.
That's gonna be awesome. So if you guys are in the area, stop on over because we're gonna drink and do some bonfiring.
Okay.
Joe, you'll be in Connecticut. But
I will be.
Colin's close.
We'll be not for much longer though.
I know, 3 more weeks.
2, really.
2, and then when you come into town, we could go get a burger and beer.
I am all about that.
Yeah, if we go on Monday or Wednesday, we get for $9.99.
That's true. Oh, it went up.
Did it?
You just said $9.99. I thought it was $7.99.
Maybe it's
Oh,
on there.
$6.99.
$6.99.
Could be $6.99 because I did give it an extra dollar once.
I don't remember. I got too much meds in me, man. I don't know. Is it burger and beer for six? I don't know. Oh my god, that's fucking horrible.
We
People dropping the ball.
go and find out.
We do need to go and find out. They do have a band, Ripley Street is coming back there and everything. Oh yeah, so I got that list of bands and everything. They do have a band coming out. Well, it's gonna be on my birthday. It's gonna be a day after this comes out. But Ripley Street's supposed to be back in the summer, which is my favorite local band. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, burger and beer every Monday and Wednesday. I think it is $6.99. God,
Sweet.
we suck. We suck. Colin, save us. What are you freaking on?
I'm freaking on. That I just went down to a awesome wedding this weekend. Had a lot of fun. Got to see my good friend Derek one night, and then got to went to an amazing wedding. So that's what I'm freaking on.
I love a good wedding.
Oh, it was great. A lot of fun. They had some of the best mashed potatoes ever.
Nice.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's good.
How about you, Travis? What are you freaking on?
Well, my birthday's Friday, and Ashley's graduating from high school. I finally watched Princess Bride. It was pretty
So
good.
everything you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
Well, fine.
Well,
Joe,
Joey,
how about you?
I started.
I
Samurai
really
Jack
just
is
been
really
like-
good.
Wow.
Yeah, you're the last one, Colin.
Wow, I'm just spaced, I guess. I'm sorry.
That's what we get for doing these on Sunday night.
Yep, it is $7.99. I just went to their Facebook.
All right, so it's burger and beer for $7.99. Actually, I think it did go up $1, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Still.
Oh shit! It's still a good price.
Still
though.
cheaper than a beer in Chicago.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely. So no, we definitely gotta hit those up and everything. I'm still bummed about them not having breakfast, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to do another on location like lunch show or something.
I'm
do
all
that.
about it.
Yep. Perfect. Awesome. Well, let me get my Will Rogers quote here, and then we can say goodbye to everybody.
Okay.
Oh, you know, before I do this, hey Joe.
Yeah.
Every week, our listeners can catch Geek Cast show here on this freaking show. But if 1 hour a week isn't enough for our listeners, where else can they get Geek Cast show at?
If you need more Geekcast Joe, you can find me over the Geekcast Live podcast at gcl.ninja. You can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Google Play, and Twitter by searching Geekcast Live.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, as we mention every week, we would love for you to get more involved in our show, whether that be going on social media and asking us questions that you would love for us to answer on the show, commenting on what we have done on the show, any concerns, anything that you like, don't like. We'd love to hear about it. You could email us at thisfreakinshow@yahoo.com if you have any requests. If you want to be on the show, if you're a comic book creator, a story writer, a movie producer, an actor, an artist, a cosplayer, a zombie expert. We've had a lot of different people on this show, and we would love to talk to you. So if you're interested, just go thisfreakinshow@yahoo.com. Go on Twitter and Facebook, send us a message or a post. I mean, we'll find you and we'll contact you because we love meeting new people. We love having people come on. And, you know, while you're on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, just search us and follow us because we love to see how many people do enjoy following us on social media. Okay. I think that's all I got. Cool. So let me quote Will Rogers here before we say our goodbyes.
Hmm.
Yeah. A lot of these are repeats. I think I might be getting towards the end of them. Here's something good. We'll show the world we are prosperous, even if we have to go broke to do it.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. Because it's true. As always, I am Travesty.
I'm Awkward Colin.
And I'm Geekcast Joe.
Thank you for listening to another episode of this freaking show. I'm out.